Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge. This is your latest Manchester United news and it's your preview for Man United against Villa. One more game to go. There are protests tomorrow at 3 p.m. as well. If you're going to be at the game, you can get involved in that. Big shout out to the 58, of course. I think it starts at the toll gate at 3 p.m, but we'll drop the details in the description. Lots to get into as well. If you saw the comments on the Garnacho video I did earlier, what are your thoughts? Go check that video out. So many people saying this is a mistake. It's such a shame. He's going to go and tear it up somewhere else. The club's a joke. And it's interesting because when I did the live show, it seemed a little bit more 50-50 split. So what are your thoughts on that? Also, Bruno Fernandes, more stuff coming out in the last hour or so that it's looking like there's lots and lots of conflict at Manchester United around what should happen here. Obviously, Bruno's not being forced out of the club because of a fallout with the manager. It's more to do with the money. But look, I'll come to that in a minute. I've got an interesting take on the Bruno situation, and I think it changes by the hour. But I am still very much of the opinion that it feels like a mistake not doing the deal. But I'll explain why, because that's a big statement to make. We're going to get into Villa need to win to get top four. It's going to be a big Sunday in the Premier League tomorrow. Let's get involved in, first of all, what the sponsor is tomorrow. You can get involved in this. Sponsored by Match Bingo. You may have seen Match Bingo on the watch along the other day, but if you missed that, Match Bingo is a new app that basically mixes football, sports betting, and bingo. It uses real match actions like free kicks, corners, and goals to automatically fill in your bingo card as the game unfolds. So you get a bingo card, and it'll be things like goal from a corner, substitute, first substitute, this thing, sort of thing. So there'll be loads of different scenarios, and each card has got 15 of those things that may or may not happen. If you get a first line across, you get 25 quid. If you get the first two lines, you get another 25 quid. However, the same person can win the accumulation. Also, first full house gets £100, and any additional full houses win an equal share of it. To get started, you can scan the QR code, and don't forget, if you buy 4 cards, you get 1 free. Big thanks to Match Bingo for sponsoring the stream. Don't forget it's 18 plus, UK only, and always please gamble responsibly if you're going to play that. But fantastic little bit of fun for the final game of the season. Check it out through the link in the description, Match Bingo. And you can scan that QR code when it goes round as well. Thank you very much to them. But let's have a look at this Premier League table. There's 2 things I would say here. Let's go through the preview and then we can talk about what I was going to say about Bruno. And, I'm sure it's popping off already about Garnacho. That's how the league table looks at the moment. It is depressing reading because if Spurs win tomorrow and they are at home, then they will go past us. I think they're playing Brighton, so Brighton might go there and get us a result because they need one. But if we lose tomorrow to Villa and Spurs beat us, it can get worse. We can be 4th bottom, which is basically relegation because those 3 that came up were a joke. So we're the worst team in the Premier League if we finish below Spurs. Spurs won't mind if it's them because they won the Europa League, which is what we were meant to do. So, look, it's embarrassing to look at that. It's horrific. 39 points should be in 4K. That is disgusting. It is absolutely vile-inducing shit, to be honest with you. At the other end of the table, Villa have a great opportunity to get into Champions League football. Great. If they win tomorrow, Forest are playing Chelsea, there's an opportunity for them to move past. So, look, Villa are going to come tomorrow and they're going to have a bloody good go at it, aren't they? This is how I think. I mean, look, take your pick. Get in the comments. Let me know. Do you care? I've picked a team. I've got absolutely no idea what he's going to do. What I do know is that Aston Villa are going to come with Ollie Watkins, Tielemans, their best team, and they're going to be energetic, and they're going to be aggressive, and they're going to be confident, and they're going to be well rested, and they're basically going to play against an inconsistent, shit, down on their luck, depressed, fed up, tired Man United. It's the recipe for a beating, isn't it? And I'm going to predict a beating. And in part of me thinks that we got, you know what, we actually deserve it, because I think most United fans now, we're sort of past the point of giving these people a chance. Like, they have ultimately got this on their Wikipedia page. I said this before the final. If you win the final, it's an escape route. It's a lifeline. But you've messed up again, like you have done so many times this season. You've messed up. And now, for the rest of your careers, you will have, I was part of the worst ever Manchester United side in Premier League history. And we were a joke, an embarrassment, and I contributed to that. And that's on you lot. So if you turn up tomorrow to try and rectify that, it's too late. It's too late. You don't do anything tomorrow. It doesn't matter what you do tomorrow. It won't make any difference. I mean, look, you get £3 million for finishing one place higher. Ooh, we might leapfrog into 14th if Wolves and West Ham lose. We might get an extra 6 million. They'll probably treat that more important than the actual bloody final the other day. Prats. God knows what we're going to get tomorrow. But I think it's going to be such a weird atmosphere. I mean, look, Garnacho's down here because I thought as the biggest Man United fan community in the world, I thought we should, whatever we think, show a little bit of gratification for a player that probably won't be involved tomorrow, who, if he was involved tomorrow, may well end up getting booze out of some misplaced loyalty to the Glazers. Because at the end of the day, they're the reasons that we're selling people like this, because our new strategy is to sell the young players for profit. I'm pretty sure there would have been a way back with Amrin, but, there clearly isn't going to be one. I wouldn't expect him to be involved tomorrow. So, for the last 2 years, I think there has been times, that goal against Everton, that cameo in the final against Man City when we were shit and he was the only player that actually put in a shift. I am grateful for what Garnacho's done for Manchester United. It's just a shame it's ending like this. But I don't expect to see him tomorrow. I presume we're going to try and go strong. I mean, you could think play Binder in goal, play Amas. He might do that, but they'll get battered. I mean, I've seen that game when Josh Harrop scored all those years ago. I think that was before a Europa League final, actually. I think, was it Southampton we played or something like that? Rooney came off for Gomez. But we're not playing some team that doesn't give a toss in the sun. We're playing Aston Villa. I think it's going to rain. I think they're going to go for us really big, and it would be another loss. So I think he's got to try and win the game, hasn't he? So how you lift those players, I don't know. But I expect he'll go strong, in which case, Yoro, Delo, Xerxes, are they able to play? They played a part on Wednesday. If you want to go strong, you'd play them. Agate surely starts in this game. Casemiro, I would think, would start. Bruno would then have to play in the 10, so we'd have to play Mason Mount. Ahmad, Maguire, Mazraoui, and try Xerxes up front, I suppose. That's pretty much it. That team, by the way, might be the best team we can put out at the moment, but that team's not going to do anything next season, is it? That's what I look at. I look at that team and I go, that is doing sod all next season. It isn't. It really isn't, is it? It's just not going to... I know Martinez and De Ligt come back and maybe Mainu has a good season, but it's just not. The balance is wrong. The wide players are not right. It's too defensive. The midfield is too defensive. The attack is not right. It's just not right. You can see it, and this is why I'm very defensive of Amorim, because I'm looking at that team that he didn't buy. He only bought Dorgu. And he was probably our man of the match on Wednesday night. The rest of them are not his players, and this is the problem. He shouldn't have to construct a team for next season from that. And it's not right. It's just not right. It's a bunch of players that in a 4-3-3, some of them would be on the bench and some of them be in a more natural position. So it's just not right. It's not right. But I think Villa will win, is my prediction. I think Villa will win. And the ridiculous thing is, there's not... Just when you think things can't get worse, they definitely can. Villa might win. Chelsea and Forest might draw. And then Villa will be celebrating Champions League football at Old Trafford. So we could be watching that tomorrow on the watch-along. And of course, Chelsea could get Champions League football and then sign Gyökeres on Monday. There's so many things that can still get bad for Manchester United, and it just feels like that at the moment, doesn't it? We're almost used to being kicked in the nuts. But look, I know that there is the protest tomorrow, as we've mentioned. I'm pretty sure there'll be a big crowd there. I have to say it baffles me, but I have to respect it, because this is what Manchester United is. It's very, very loyal fan base who will turn up no matter what. And I think they've been treated badly this year. And that's why we've got such a bad points total. And I think that when we look at next season, the crowds are still going to be there. But Man United need to start delivering, don't they? And I think that work has to start after tomorrow. But look, it's a 38-game season. We can't ignore it just because we don't like it. It's a 38-game season, and United need to try and do something, I suppose. But I think it's going to be very difficult. And the reason I think it's going to be very difficult is because you can understand why they've switched off now. You can. There is literally nothing to play for. And they didn't turn up for the game where there was. So why would they turn up against Villa? I almost expect them to not turn up. The big thing I want to say, though, is that will it be Bruno Fernandes' last game in front of the Old Trafford crowd? I mean, logically, it doesn't make sense that it will be, because he would deserve a proper send-off in front of Old Trafford. And it seems to me that the club aren't going to do that. So are they going to keep him? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I won't ever shirk honesty when it comes to what I think about this football club, and I don't see why we should. The club decided to let the Saudi story settle 2 weeks ago, and they've still left it there. So they can't complain at the end of the day with the way fans have reacted to it, and the way more and more United fans are saying, yeah, I would sell him. Because they've allowed that story to be left unresolved. They've left it there. Still Al Halal and Saudi sources and UK sources are saying they're desperately still trying to get the deal done. They really feel confident. We've been left with that story. The club could have managed it, and they didn't. So I don't feel any guilt in saying what I'm going to say. This story's just been left there for us to read day after day for 2 weeks. Think about the money and how it could be spent. Think about Bruno's age and how he fits into the system. And if we're going to end up keeping him now, I think they're going to end up with a situation where there are a lot of United fans who are going, why didn't you just say that at the start so we knew it was never a prospect? Because you've left it there for 2 weeks as a prospect. And some of us have got to the point now where we've gone, well, the club is clearly broken. The club is clearly on its arse, and it clearly needs massive investment. And Bruno's sale would clearly represent that. So I'm of that opinion now, where I'm just sort of like, if he ends up staying, there's going to be a big part of me going, we should have sold him, because we were left with that prospect for too long, and it would be unrealistic to think that United fans aren't going to think that through. And as I said, before the Europa League final, for me, it was a big no, because if you win that game, you're in the Champions League, you add a couple of players, Bruno's really useful. But now we're not in the Champions League, and we're desperate for money, and we need to rebuild from scratch. There's the clue. We need to rebuild from scratch. There is no European football. There's no prospect of being in Europe in a year's time. I think right here, right now, what would you say the percentage chance of Manchester United being in Europe this time next year? I would say 50-50 at best. To be in Europe, the Conference League, you've got to finish 7th or 8th. So I don't think there's a good chance of us being in Europe next season. So Bruno's 31 at the start of the season. He'll be 32 at the start of next season. So if we're not in Europe for the next 2 years, he's going to be 33 when we're next in Europe. That's a big, big, big period of time where he's probably going to deteriorate a little bit. And it's going to be more money needed next summer. So I just think that they've left this story there unresolved. And I look at it now and I'm like, we lost the final. The club needs a reset. It needs a rebuild. It's in big trouble. It needs big expenditure this summer. They're telling us we've got no money. Here's a player that will bring money in. Do the deal. That's just sort of where I am. Because all we get told is, oh, no money. Really challenging times. There's no money. And I'm like, £100 million for this player. You can't tell me we can't use that £100 million on players, because if you don't sell him, you're not getting it anyway. So you can't sell Bruno and use it towards your debt because you weren't even thinking about it. And now this opportunity's there. It's like £100 million spare. So spend it on players. So I'm like, just spend it. Just spend it and do it, because if we keep him and we have a bad season, it's going to go really badly toxic. People are going to be like, look at Bruno. We kept him for what? This, that, and the other. It's a shame. It is a shame. He has sort of become an unwitting symbol of sacrifice to maybe help the club get back. And that's to his credit in a sense that he is our best player. But I think it's just got to be done. The scary thing is that obviously Ruben Amorim doesn't think so. And that really scares me because I'm thinking, what is he left with then if Bruno goes? There's not a lot of leaders there. But there's not a lot of leaders there anyway. Even if Bruno stays, every time when Bruno has a bad game and he goes off, deservedly, we get worse. That can't be right. You can't keep Bruno because even when he plays badly, we get worse when he goes off. You've got to bring better players in, regardless of when the Bruno stays. That can't be the situation. You can't keep Bruno on every minute of every game because we get worse when he's off, because he doesn't always play well. So that needs resolving anyway. That's not a reason to keep Bruno just because he's the only leader we've got and we're worse without him. Get more leaders in. You know, he's not the only leader in world football, is he? We've got to get more leaders in. So for me, it's a difficult one, but pragmatically, whatever you want to call it, I think we've just got to take the money. And I want us to just get on with it. Because the more I think about it, the more it just bothers me. And I just think we need to just get on with this. But I honestly don't know which way it's going to go because the manager doesn't want it to happen. I'm not convinced Bruno wants it to happen, although he's clearly been, affected by it. I think the club wants it to happen. We might get a hint in the game tomorrow. But I don't necessarily know. As for Garnacho, I don't see the purpose in him playing tomorrow. I really don't. I think it would be cruel to do it. You think about how the crowd reacted to Trent at Anfield. I just think putting Garnacho out there, it doesn't become logical. It becomes more about whether you're Team Amorim or Team Garnacho. And that's not really the case here, is it? It doesn't need to be that. This is more Team Glazer needs to raise money by selling a young player for pure profit. As I said, it's not Team Garnacho versus Team Amorim, because if Garnacho was 29 on 200 grand a week with 3 years left on his contract, he wouldn't be going anywhere because no one would be buying him. They'd find a way through it. But because he's a young player on low wages who they can sell for pure profit, they can be a little bit more ballsy and say, you find a club because we're going to make pure profit. So I think I'd be a bit uncomfortable with him playing tomorrow and potentially being booed because I'd almost be like, why? Why is he getting booed? For what? Because he was disappointed that he got dropped in a final for a player that played shit and hasn't been here for 90% of the season. It's not a reason to boo him, is it? It's a reason for him to be sold. It's a reason for him to leave. But I think he should be left out of the game tomorrow because you just don't feel comfortable with what might happen in that situation. And of course, I'd understand people reacting in whatever way, and they've got a right to do that. But remember, it's a very toxic environment for many different reasons than this. Ultimately, worst ever Premier League season, bottled it on Wednesday. The Glazers are horrific. Sir Jim's had a bloody nightmare. It could be quite a toxic environment to bring players in that might be leaving tomorrow. And all our anger and frustration should be aimed at the people that won't be there tomorrow, which is Joel and Jim and Avram and everybody else, will they? But look, the flip side of all this is we still don't know whether things are going to get worse or better. Like, we still don't know whether some of this money is actually going to help us bring an Mbermo in, as well as Acuna. We still don't know what's happening with the striker situation. I still think it's going to be Delap, to be honest, and I'm not going to be running laps of celebration with my top off, but, it's something. Will Bruno go? Who else could go? I still wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to push Casemiro out the way because of his wage, but he could sit and stay. So I think it's going to be a very interesting few days and weeks ahead for Manchester United, and busy. It has to be busy. There are a lot of people that need to go, and we've got to work that out, from the Antonys, Sanchos, Rashfords, Garnachos, whoever else. I mean, the Bruno deal's very easy, isn't it? Very easy. But some of the deals might not be so easy. And incomings, we've got a project to sell. And I don't think the way Amorim looks at the moment, I don't think he could sell a broom to a witch. He's got to get up again somehow, because he looks very miserable at the moment. Okay, don't forget to give a go on Match Bingo. I'll whack it up on the screen for you again. There it is. Bit of fun for the last game of the season. Get involved with that by scanning the QR code. credit £5 to your account and get £10 for free as well, which is a nice little bonus there, which is great. Also, let's not forget that there will be a watch along tomorrow, of course. So thank you very much for that. And get your comments in. As I said, if you've not seen the Garnacho leaving video, the comments on there are incredible. Like, so many people saying that. Saying it's a mistake, which has surprised me. Take care, everyone. God knows when we're going to be live again. I think tomorrow morning Seb's got a match, so I won't be at 10 o'clock. It will more be 10:30 for the morning transfer show, news show. Obviously, the watch along, it will be, is it a 4 o'clock kickoff? If anything happens, we'll go live anyway. And with the way it is at United, that's probably the way it's going to be. Get your score predictions in, get your lineups in, have a go on Match Bingo, and let me know your thoughts on where you are with Bruno. Because the reason I brought Bruno back into the show, actually, was because one of my mates messaged me this afternoon. I do have mates, and they're a United fan, and they were saying, I don't want to sell Bruno anymore. I feel sorry for him. I was like, why? He said, I don't know. I just do. I said, that's your reason to change your mind? He said, yeah. Yesterday I wanted to sell him. Today I feel sorry for him. I want him to stay. And I think that's why I wanted to bring it back in. It's not a simple choice, this. Whatever happens, fair play to the Saudi. They've split the fan base on this. And whatever United do, there's going to be people really on board with it and really not on the board. And there isn't a right or wrong here. There's just a split. And as I said, before Wednesday, it was a big no. But after Wednesday, as I said, if somebody tells me selling Bruno means Mbeumo, Cunha and Gyökeres, and keeping Bruno means Cunha and Delap, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for the Gyökeres and Cunha and Mbeumo choice. Take care, everyone. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Smash a like and subscribe. Check out a Match Bingo. Bit of fun tomorrow, and I'll speak to you all in a bit. And remember, you get £10 free with a credit of £5 put in. So check it out. Scan the QR code. Thanks for watching.